Election fraud has multi different dimensions to it. Electoral fraud, sometimes referred to as election manipulation, voter fraud, or vote rigging. Okay, election manipulation, which happened, voter fraud or vote rigging involves illegal interference, which they did, with the process of an election, which they did, either by increasing the vote share of a favorite candidate, which they did, depressing the vote share of a rival candidate, which they did. According to this definition, there is electoral fraud. So now,
boom. Boom. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. It's election fraud. All right, man. Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the content. So, I came across this clip on the PBD podcast. I think that's what it's called. PBD podcast. This guy's really good. He interviews a lot of people. He's really good, really good. And I just want to get right into the clip because one of the hosts had asked a question about the Hunter Biden laptop. He said, would that had changed anything, and is that voter fraud? And they answered this question, and I think it was a very fascinating answer that they gave to his question. The clip is pretty long, so stick with me, and I'll come back and we'll discuss.
It's not a bombshell, but it certainly is a validation. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I think it's something that this is essentially the reason why Elon Musk bought Twitter. One of the reasons. It's freedom of speech. You saw that he's brought back Trump, but Trump didn't want to go back on there. He's brought back Kanye, who has now sort of canceled himself at this point. He brought back Tate. He's bringing people back that should have never left Twitter. I guess my question is, if everything would have played out and freedom of speech would have been, allowed, how much would that have moved the needle of the election?
What are you talking about?
It's a question. I'm not making a point.
How about you ask yourself, what do you think?
Well, what I'm trying to distinguish is freedom of speech, information, circulation. I think we can all agree upon that. Versus a totally separate topic, election fraud, election deniers. Freedom of speech.
This is part of election fraud,
But
though.
you don't think suppressing information from a voter?
But that's what I'm stating is that freedom of speech, disinformation is not actual election fraud.
Yeah.
Is it limiting information? Yes, we're on the same page there. But the two are separate. That's what I think.
Wait. No. But stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked a wonderful question. Why don't you answer your own wonderful question?
Mm-hmm.
What's your question?
I said how much of this actually played a part of the election.
Answer your own question.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw what happened with Hillary when James Comey came out and basically said,
I agree.
Okay, that's what I'm
totally
saying.
Agree.
And, allegedly that could have swayed the electorate, right? But I don't know. I mean, it's not like we're there counting the ballots.
You can't play that game.
I'm asking a question.
But here's a question. If you're asking a question of us, you ought to be able to answer that question yourself.
So,
because I'll give you my answer.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, tell me.
What is the actual Hunter Biden laptop story? Meaning, I personally don't think that Hunter Biden is this evil henchman that's making all these deals
Why are you
behind
beating around the bush, bro? Answer your own question you just asked.
Exactly.
You answered your own question.
I'm saying that whatever happened with Hunter Biden and Twitter was wrong and should have not been suppressed. At the same time, that was not election fraud.
Bro, you still are not answering. So do you realize what it is to ask somebody a question that you're not willing to answer yourself?
I asked the question. Go ahead.
Let me put the question you said. Do we need to go back and show you what you asked? How much of this would have impacted the election? Answer your own question.
I don't know. That's the whole point.
But you can't say I don't know.
Could it have moved the needle? Would it have moved the needle in Arizona? Would it have moved the needle in Pennsylvania?
So here's the
Would it have moved the needle? I don't know. Possibly, yes.
Adam, I think you have a belief under there and you just don't want to say it. You started to talk about James Comey in the emails, and we can also go back at Bush versus Gore. Bush had a drunk driving conviction that came out less than 2 weeks ahead. Polls moved. You didn't just turn 18 yesterday and just start voting. You've been around several elections, and you see how these things move voters. They do. You can answer your own question, and you brought up Comey.
You guys are missing my point. I'm saying that information should have been circulated. Agreed. Could that have moved the needle? Yes. Possibly, definitely. But that is not election fraud. Election fraud is a separate topic.
It is election fraud.
All the lawsuits that Trump went to each and every single court were struck down and lost.
Okay, so
you guys are trying to conflate.
It is election fraud. Anything they do to suppress someone from voting, to stop someone, to manipulate, to this is why they tell you can't tell people who to directly vote for. That is election fraud. Like maybe not to you, but it is.
Biden with the election fraud.
Wait. So a conspiracy of media keeps information from the voter. That's not fraud.
Yeah. So let's
no, that's suppression. It's not fraud.
It's voter suppression. So you're suppressing the vote.
Let's unpack this a little bit. Okay. Let's unpack this a little bit because what you just said, you open up a can of worms. You asked the question that maybe I should have asked the question, but you asked the question. So if you ask the question, you got to own the question. So
no, I don't. I'm asking you guys the question. You answer the question.
But no, if you do ask a question like that, you have to be able to also answer the question you're asking. So let me give you the answer to the question. To say, would it have really? And I love because I watched so much CNN the last couple of days. Okay, the last 2-3 days. Can you do me a favor? Go on CNN's YouTube channel and then go on MSNBC's YouTube channel. Go on CNN's YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and go to CNN. I want to show you. Hey, John Malone, you say, no, you're right there, right? You're fine. So, hey, John Malone or Chris Denuncio, click on videos for me and zoom in a little bit so we can all see it. All right, so that's 4 hours. Zoom out a little bit so all the videos are on the same page, okay? So first one is about what? She's signing off. Last one.
She's bye-bye.
How sweet.
Yeah.
Chasing life.
Smelling the way to love.
Yeah. So,
what are you, a chihuahua?
So watch this. Reporter shows how China's zero COVID policy. No problem. Trump,
of course.
Russia. Another story. Pence about Trump. Keep going. Another story. Where's Twitter? Not
Trump,
one. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Still no Twitter story. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No Twitter story. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No Twitter story. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No Twitter story. We're at 2 days now. We're at Sunday now. Keep going. Keep going.
But there's a Trump story on every line of more videos.
By the way, the only reason you don't talk about it is because it has that kind of influence. So let's I can do the same thing with MSNBC, CBS, ABC, everybody. Fine. Let me go to the other part about would it have had any impact. It was on its way for being the most viral tweet ever on Twitter. That's how crazy this Twitter was. Tweet was by New York Post before they shut it down. It was on fire, going viral. The only reason it was going viral is because everybody was interested to see if this man who's about to be our president is using his card of presidency to steal money or get money from others. That is a valid concern for people to ask. People who go into politics for a long time and become rich concerns everybody from both sides, left, right, or the middle. A politician shouldn't go from making $140,000 a year to being worth $140 million or $20 million or $50 million. There's something that happened there. Now, so to answer the question, did it have an impact? Everybody who has common sense knows it had an impact. Could it have flipped? Of course it could have flipped. Now let's talk about the word that you're saying, election fraud. Let's unpack what election fraud really means. What is election fraud? I think the part that you're thinking about election fraud is
ballots and stuff.
Ballots.
Correct.
But that's not just election fraud. Election fraud is multifaceted. Betrayal, is betrayal one-dimensional, or does betrayal have 20 different dimensions to it? Betrayal has you can betray me 20 different ways. Mm-hmm. It's not just one way to betray me. Betrayal is not just about talking behind my back and telling me stuff betrayal doesn't mean you steal from me. Betrayal doesn't mean you flirt with my girl. Betrayal has 20 different dimensions to it, right? Okay. Election fraud has multi different dimensions to it. Electoral fraud, sometimes referred to as election manipulation, voter fraud, or vote rigging. Election manipulation, which happened, voter fraud or vote rigging involves illegal interference, which they did, with the process of an election, which they did, either by increasing the vote share of a favorite candidate, which they did, depressing the vote share of a rival candidate, which they did. According to this definition, there is electoral fraud. So now,
boom. Boom. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. It's election fraud.
You get involved in Twitter and you're telling an organization that's 99% funding one side how to protect you, and this guy becomes president. Let me tell you why a guy in Mar-a-Lago is furious, sitting there saying, what the hell am I doing wasting 4 years of my life in my 70s where I should be the president today, finish up my second term, love or hate me, I could have gotten my job done, but you guys got this other guy because there was election fraud through social media company. I didn't say ballots. I didn't say any of that stuff. This is proof. So for people to say, it is what it is, it's just a non-story. Every CBS, ABC, anything that I see, anybody talking about it it's a story from the past. It's just this. It's not a big deal. Yeah. This is the kind of stuff why today, do you know who's the number one journalist in the world today? It's a guy named Elon Musk. Do you know who's the number one journalistic organization in the world effectively today in just 6 weeks of him running it? It's called Twitter. The way he's running it, we're about to drop some news. They're doing more journalism than CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, all of those cats, including Fox, all of them combined. Twitter's doing more investigative journalism than any of those 5 cats combined, and it's ran by citizen journalists. Shout out goes to them. And for people who were frustrated and upset for something to be this, if you're about to marry a girl that I've known for a while, and you're about to propose to her, and you and I are boys, I'm talking boys from 2nd grade, okay? I know this girl, and you ask me, Pat, I'm about to propose. Is there anything I need to know? And I know some stuff that you need to know about her, okay? And I really, and this is the kind of stuff you should know, okay? Mm-hmm. Legit stuff. Imagine I don't keep that from you, and I don't tell you. 6 years later, 2 years later, you find out from somebody else, but you're already married. It's too late. We're married to Joe Biden right now. We don't have a choice. And then I tell you, and you say, Pat, why would you not tell me this? And I said, bro, it was 2 years. It's an old story, man. It's what she did 13 years ago. It's what was 7 years ago. Who cares? Who makes a difference? Anyways, right now you're married. She's pregnant. And you guys are having a ton of fights that night. You said, if I would have known, I would have never married her. That's how America feels right now. That's exactly how America feels right now. They feel like somebody had intel on a girl that we're getting ready to marry, but they didn't want to tell them until after they were married and they were pregnant already.
Great point.
That's the frustration people have, and it's very painful. And I understand their frustration. And at the same time, we still have to be leaders, responsible, and move on.
That was amazing. That right there, that was amazing. He said a lot in that one clip, man. Damn, that was amazing. Hey, man, Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page, man.